What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it. All right, here we are on this, the 29th of April. We are resting right now at about $2.30. We're not really resting so much, are we? We're kind of increasing. I think this is nice. We've broken away from this zone. We broke out of the area of resistance, broke above it 2 days ago, closed above it. Yesterday we got continuation, moving up 2%. Today we're already up. I very much do believe that we will continue to grow. This is, to me, it reminds me of kind of like that all aboard call that the conductor makes, right? This is all aboard. This is your all aboard call right before we take off, right before this train gets underway here. And I think that we are going to move at a very fast pace to new all-time highs very soon, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. The time has already come and passed, come and gone that you could buy XRP below $2. It's not happening again. Not for the rest of this cycle. Maybe never again in your life. You never know. Like genuinely, it might not ever happen again in your life. We could be of the select few people on planet Earth who ever witnessed XRP at a price below $2. I'm serious. It might not happen again. But at least for the rest of the cycle, I think that's the case, that's true. And we're about to start moving up, right? And for not too long of a time now, we're in the window where we're of the select few people who'll be able to buy XRP below $3, right? And then inevitably $5, right? And below $10 is coming up pretty damn soon too. If we're looking at this on a weekly basis, XRP had a very long phase of accumulation. It's clear that it was accumulation, rather boring. Moments to the upside where he had spikes, right? The downside spikes were just giving back the upside spikes, but it was never any progress to the downside, right? It was always progress to the upside. And then inevitably had this large spike up. A lot of cryptos, if we look at them, you look at the others chart here. This is the top 125 coins, excluding the top 10. You look at the same kind of time frame. What happened was they pumped up a tremendous bit, and they dropped all the way back down to where they pumped back in November, October, right? XRP held its ground. It did not give all of that back. It actually held its ground rather well. You're consolidating here. You're primed, you're poised, you're in the right position to see some immaculate growth that literally, I don't know how many people are calling for this, but from what I can tell, there's not too many people who are making the call that XRP will be worth more than $10 by the end of June. I'm very convinced, you guys, that by the end of June, XRP will be worth more than $10. Here we are at 230 now, 231 right now. Not only will it be above $10, it'll probably be above $11, maybe even reaching prices that are above $15 by the end of June. Genuinely, that's coming. This thing's got some legs on it, man. That's crazy. That's preposterous. That means that it would have to see a larger move than its last move. Its last move was this big. If it were to go all the way up to $10, that would be bigger than the last move. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm glad we're on the same page. The reason why I think that is that XRP, I think people XRP's given enough time to make people forget how this thing performs whenever it moves up, right? It doesn't do this and then it's done for the cycle. It doesn't do this once and then it's done and then it's a good little boy for the rest of the cycle. That's not how it is. This thing is erratic. It moves up at a phenomenal pace. Even during last cycle, which sucked, the months that we had a month here that was 180% to the upside. We had a month here that was, hell, 66% to the downside, 177% to the upside. This month here was 125. We had 3 months that were up over 100%. What are we going to do over the next 2 months? I'm assuming it's going to be spectacular, and I'm assuming most people are not prepared for it, right? They're thinking that we'll stop somewhere at $6, $4, $5, playing the safe bets, right? Trying to sound quote-unquote logical. But here's the deal. I think logic would actually dictate that we're going to see prices no less than $10. By the fibs, technically it'd be $8.37, but truthfully, like we've done the math enough times, you guys, $10 or bust. It really doesn't make sense to be calling for anything below that, right? But it truly doesn't make sense to call for anything below 837. Truly it doesn't. Because what's there? There's nothing there. It's the land of abyss. You got nothing going on there. There's no doubt in my mind, getting back to this idea of having a stronger move than this move here, there's no doubt in my mind that XRP consolidated for 2 cycles, 2 full cycles. We just had a little life in us. There's no doubt in my mind that when we break free and we see new all-time highs truly in price exploration, which we haven't seen in 2 cycles now, basically 3, right? Basically 3. We're going to outperform our last move. This was the pent-up aggression from the consolidation phase. Now we're letting loose, man. No more aggression. Now things are easy. We're smooth sailing to these targets. We're not going to stop at 837. The next fib target is 1356, 1357 here. This is the area that I think we're going to go to. With the 1414, it's not common to find resistance right on it. It's actually common to go just above it. This is where, we could queue in $15, $17, stuff like that could happen by the end of June. I really don't think that people are prepared for it. And the thing is, when you move up like this, when you move above your golden ratio, just slicing through it like butter, you find support at the 786, 886 area. This really does set you up. This is a bullish configuration in itself. Already consolidating for multiple cycles, I could tell you personally that if you see new all-time highs, you're not going to stop at the minimum target. What you spent the better part of a decade consolidating just to hit your minimum target? I don't think so. And call it a day, that's it? No, sir. That's not what you're doing. No. You're going to the next one at the very least, right? I doubt you see $27, right? You could, but oftentimes, and I'm not going to lie, oftentimes this kind of consolidation, the way you're doing it, does lead to the 1618. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm not even under the belief that we see $27 by the end of June, but by the end of the cycle, sure, $27 and beyond, we could even see a $67 XRP by the end of this cycle or higher. It's very possible. But I digress, right? That's for a later date to talk about. We're not going to talk about that in this video. The main purpose of this video, $2.31 now, is to discuss the very, very likely possibility that we see stuff that's above $10 and beyond, right? So let's, beyond just looking at the fibs here, and we could look at these fibs too, actually. Let's see. From the last cycle's high to the cycle lows. Right, we're probably not going to stop anywhere here. That target there is at $10.71, $13, coming up in that same area as the 1414. It just makes a lot of sense here. 1272, 886 bounce. I can tell you what, whenever you interact with the primary zone, which is the 1272 to the 1618, when you interact with the primary zone at any degree, and you find support, you always look to break it, right? The fact that you hit the 1272, the secondary zone is this, the 1886 to the 2618. The fact that you found resistance at the 1272, but found support at the 886 tells me that you will probably go to the minimum target zone of the secondary zone. If not here, but I really doubt that you stop at 640. Why do I doubt you stop at 640? Because it's the minimum target of this fib. It's not even there yet, right? So making sense out of it, to me, it only makes sense that you would stop at $10.70 or higher. But let's do some work beyond just that, right? Let's talk about XRP to BTC. It's been a second since we've done this, but I like to do this. It's good, right? Looking at XRP to BTC, without looking at it too much, just being very, very plain with our analysis here, you can tell that we are at a point of resistance, right? We're at this shelf of resistance that really we've been held down by since 2019. Okay, it's an area of resistance here. It was support back here, a little bit of support down here, although you did close a little bit below it, but resistance more or less here. If you don't like that line, we can move it up a little bit, but I just think, including these wicks is nice. It gets that monthly high close. My question to you, whoever you are out there, maybe you have a lot of experience in technical analysis, maybe you have no experience, but I think regardless, everybody would answer this question with ease because it's rather logical. You've been down here since 2020, since the end of 2019, you have not gotten above this line. What is this? What is this chart? This is XRP priced in Bitcoin. XRP is worth $2.30 in US dollars. It's worth 5029 in Bitcoins. Okay, does that make sense? It's the XRP to Bitcoin chart. Just like the dollar chart, if you've been held up here, whenever you let loose the goose, is it just going to go here and then die? No, you're probably going to excel. You're going to see some separation. What's going to happen here? You're probably not just going to see a little flop and then fail, right? You're going to fly high. You're going to go to your next point of resistance. So where could that be? Well, here on a closing period, you have some resistance here, prior support, prior resistance, a couple of touch points here. It doesn't seem the most significant, but maybe. Let's throw a fib on there. Let's put a high to a low. Let's see. And that was not the high, by the way. Let's get it here. It's right below your golden ratio. So again, I don't think you stop here. It's semi-significant, but not that significant. I think the golden ratio would make a lot more sense to stop at personally. But even then, it's not that significant. Oftentimes, in the way that I have my fibs drawn, you can see the 618, it's a pair. It's the golden ratio and the 6-9. It's kind of a zone in itself. The white zone is for loading and unloading only, right? Here, the 618 doesn't really line up too much with the price action here, but if we put it at the 6-9, you put it right in line there with the 6-9, and it is at this area where we found support. It is at this area where we found resistance. So something around here, to me, this area right here would make the most sense for XRP to go to if and when, and it's probably soon, that it'll break out of this zone here. We know that it's soon because here you found resistance, you moved down. You found resistance, you moved down. You found resistance, you rejected immediately. 2 months, double tip there, month after month, and still you move down immediately. 1 month, move down immediately. Here, over a quarter of a year. Call me crazy, but I think different behavior begets different results. What's the different results? Well, if this was the expected result, different results means up. If we're going up, where are we going to go? We just answered that question, didn't we? I think logically, we would think that we go to about 40727. Earlier I said this was 5029. I miscounted. It's 4 zeros. 40727. So now we have the price versus Bitcoin. This is great. We're getting somewhere, okay? Google calculator. We'll do you up here. 4 zeros, right? 40727. Right? Should I talk like that? 40727. All right, yeah. One of those. 40727 right here. Makes a lot of sense that we'd stop here. I would even argue that it makes more sense that we would stop above this, right? You have areas of resistance all up here. That looks really nice right up there. To me, this is the point of resistance. That 4099, 409 area. Hi, Rafiki. That's my cat. He's a he likes to meow. Come here, Rafiki. Get your cute little. He's already right here. I'm feeling. He came really quick actually. He's right there right now. Oh, he's a good boy. But he will literally just sit there and meow until I tell him to come here. And then he'll go away, and he's already gone. That's all he wanted. He's like, hey, look at me, give me love. Anyways, 40727. That's the price versus Bitcoin. Now, to get the price of XRP in US dollars, we need the price in Bitcoin. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. One can only assume where Bitcoin's going to go. So that's exactly what we're going to do. From a high to a low, my expectation would be that by the end of June, we see a Bitcoin at 178, 180K, 170K, somewhere around there. But maybe not everybody's on par with that. And that's fine. If you're not on par with that, that's fine. I'll explain real quick, more in depth than I normally do. But from a high to a low, last cycle, bull cycle high to bear market low, here we are consolidating below the 1272. What do I know? I've just been doing this for 9 years, technical analysis for 9 years, and every step of the way, the Fibonacci retracement tool and extensions have been a very fine part of my analysis, a very integral part of my analysis. What do I know? But I'm telling you, from someone who's got a little bit of experience here, when you consolidate like this below the 1272, when you don't interact with the 100 or the 886 or go to the expected area, which is the 786, when you find resistance, that's what happens almost always. When you do this, it's very bullish. It's very bullish. And you don't do this and then stop at the 1414. That's not what you do. No, you stop at the golden ratio or higher, right? And this is the next move. This is by the end of June, right? I don't think that's the end of the cycle, but I think by the end of the next move, by the end of June, early July, we'll be at about 170 to 180K. I strongly believe this with Bitcoin. We'll be at 170 to 180K. Maybe you don't. Maybe the magic fibs are not enough for you. You're like, these fancy numbers, I don't care. You're crazy, C-Zar. Okay, fine. Maybe I'm crazy. 130K then. Let's settle for that. Can we at least agree if we consolidated for about half a year that we could at least move here? I mean, we look at what we've done already this cycle. Let's make another argument. Let's do this without the fibs. We don't even have to use the fancy made-up fibs, right? They're not made up. They're actually very scientific and a kind of an anomaly, right? The whole damn universe respects the fibs. It's like if life was a video game, that's the cheat code almost, right? Does that make sense? It's just something that we see reoccurring in the universe. Literally, look up Fibonacci sequence in the galaxy, the spirals of the Milky Way galaxy. Even our galaxy respects it, right? You've got an 88% move. You got a 196% move from this low to high. We got a 120% move. I don't know how high Bitcoin's going to go, but let's just put this up here, right? From the low to the high, that puts you at 142K. That puts you at 142K, right? Traditionally, as cycles go on, you only get stronger moves, right? We look at the fibs here, and that was at 130K. I don't think we're going to do 130K. That seems laughable because even our smallest target here would put us at 145K. Okay, all right, that doesn't make sense that we would stop there. The next target up would put us at 167K. The next move that we saw, I mean, it would take a lot longer to form, and ultimately I think we'll get here, but that's 227K, right? So I think it's more than appropriate to say 170 to 180. It's not even appropriate to say 130K. Still, let's do it. 130K. 130,000. What would the price be for XRP to USD? It'd be $9.45. So even at the most pessimistic I could be, right? XRP to BTC, I'm not even going where I actually think that it would go. Like we use some logic to get us here. From a high to a low here, one could argue that it would actually make more sense to go to the 786 because there's areas of resistance here, right? If we take away the fib, you've got resistance here, tons of resistance. It's very well respected. Resistance back here, and it's the 786. It's that next phase up. Also with fibs, if you're consolidating between the 0.5, you also do actually have a higher likelihood to break through the golden ratio. I'm not making that up. That's actually factual. So I'm just being serious whenever I say the math all comes from this line. It's a very minimal line to expect when we break out here. That minimal target alongside with the target that doesn't even make sense on a minimal aspect for Bitcoin puts us at $9.45. Okay, 130K. Let's take it up a notch. Let's turn it up a notch. 4 zeros, 727. And we'll make Bitcoin, let's say 150K. Because that minimum move that we saw for Bitcoin, the minimum move that we got here, that puts it at 145K. Let's at least assume then that we go to 150K. So 150,000. That gives us a price of about $10.90. Are we starting to make sense? Is this lining up with things that we saw in the fibs, things that we already made sense of before, but now we're doing the math, we're doing it in the perspective of the XRP BTC chart to BTC USD going up in value, and it's lining up at the same area? That can't be a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, actually. We go to 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 727. Oh, not 724, 727. Let's say Bitcoin does go where I think it's going to go. Let's say that it sees a price of 170 to 180K. We won't even do 180. Let's say 170. Let alone if it goes higher, right? Let alone if we see something that's more than what I could expect. It very well could happen. That gives us a price of about $12.36, my friends. $12.36. This is not end of cycle stuff. This is where I think we're about to go in the next couple of months, by the end of June, right? This is the expectation, if not early July. Let's turn it up one more notch and then we'll end the video, okay? Let's say that XRP does, in fact, move up. We're not even going to take the 786, which is all the way up here, right? That's at 301. We're not even going to do that. We're going to take it, we're going to minimalize it a little bit. We're going to put it at that wick there, okay? That's what we're going to do. So let's do this, right? Why this wick? Because even though we could move it up to 301 where the 786 is, where it actually makes more sense to go to, we're going to put it here because there's a sizable amount of respect still in the chart. The 301 does line us up pretty damn well with the closing prices here, and there's some sizable respect there as well. There's some respect here. So let's still on a higher note, on a more optimistic note, still be conservative and see what we can come up with. That's 40927. 40927. And let's multiply it again by 170K, right? Let's just assume that we top off around the same time Bitcoin does. It gives us a $15.75 price. We haven't even input the maximum potentials for XRP to Bitcoin and Bitcoin USD. We haven't even input those, right? But I'm just telling you guys, when I say this, as crazy or not crazy as it might sound at this point, you're not ready for it. Maybe you are ready for it, but everybody's going to be like, damn, why didn't I buy XRP when it was below $2? I had the opportunity. Why didn't I buy it when it was below $3.30? I had the opportunity. You're not going to have the opportunity for too much longer. This window is closing. We're on that moment where it's like, all aboard, right? You can see it. You can literally see it. Forgive me for being a little bit animated, but I'm having fun here, okay? You can see it. We've broken out. You're slowly bleeding right now. You're getting ready for the next move up, man. It's happening right now. Look, you broke out here and you moved a little bit sideways and then boom, all aboard right here. It's the exact same thing that we're doing right here. Literally, it's the exact same thing. We're going to see a movement just as fantastic, maybe even more fantastic, likely more fantastic. We just did the math on it. There's no doubt in my mind that we see a price for XRP that's above $10 and very likely even above $13 by the end of this move, if not something above $12. Anything and everything in between. We do these calculations enough. I feel like it's ingrained in my soul at this point. But I very strongly believe with every passing day that we're about to see something miraculous, just like with the XRP to BTC chart having different behavior here. XRP USD is experiencing something that it hasn't experienced ever in its life, which is consolidation at an area that it normally rejects from, It comes up, it goes down. It comes up, it goes down. It comes up, it stays here for 4 months. Different behavior begets different results, my friends, and those results are going to be fantastic. That's all I got for you. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. None of those were even all-time high expectations. The all-time high by the end of this cycle Oh, buddy boy, it's gonna be a lot higher than that. We're gonna see like a $70 price for XRP by the end of the cycle, you guys, and that'll be for another video. I got nothing else for you. Take care. Bye bye.